Hey everybody, George Rouse here. I'm at Last Chance Archery. We have a new user question. DanCom69 on YouTube wants to know more about grip angles, which angle is good, should you tape the grip, should you not tape the grip. So I'm going to walk you through grip angles and why and what we're doing. So this is my bow here. And I'm using a old UltraView printed grip. It's a 3D printed grip. And for years, I have always built up the grip angle on my bows slightly. And this is where it comes from. I think it's important that I go through with you, like, where did the grip angle thing come from and why is it the way it is today? So in the late 70s, early 80s, everybody was coming out with compounds. This is my target bow from 1989. Shot some 300s with this baby. And this was the pinnacle of forgiveness. Look at that 10-inch brace height. And I think this has a 45-inch axle to axle length. And boy, wasn't this forgiving, right? Now, when they made these old bows, they put a plastic grip on, just like what you see on a recurve bow nowadays. And the whole idea behind this plastic grip that was on the bow was to make it feel more like a recurve so that people would buy it. Well, we realized that these big old fat wooden grips were making us a little inconsistent. We had a pretty wide platform that we were putting our hands against. And if you let your wrist relax, it was really easy for your wrist to kind of get out of shape. And the width of the grip made a little bit more leverage so that you could torque the bow, even with a brace height like this, right? So a lot of us pros back in the late 80s, we were taking these grips off. And you see this grip angle is very low, you know, in comparison. This is a number 5 on the old Hoyt bows. And this one is very low. They used to be quite a bit higher than this. But us pros, we would take this off. And you see the grip angle that it leaves and this like sharp edge here, right? That's the grip angle that it left. This grip angle is just arbitrary. It's just low so that this will fit and leave plenty of room on the bow. So this angle here that most bows are now is completely arbitrary. Martin Archery was one of the companies that immediately started when they noticed that all the pros were taking the grips off of their bows. What they didn't take into account was that we were using a little plumber's putty to kind of build that thing up a little bit so that the angle fit our ergonomics a little bit better. Now, here's how to know what I'm talking about here. So when you take your hand and then lift it straight up like this, and then extend your arm, you'll feel a stretch under here and under here, or over the top right here. And it's kind of a bind, and it's really stiff, and that will make you unsteady. So then when I change, just holding it right there, and I feel the pinch, and when I change that grip, that angle of my hand just a few degrees, and all of that goes away, right? So I always built my grip up just a little bit so that I didn't have tension in my forearm and it would make my bow aim a little bit more smooth. So all the bow companies are just using this arbitrary angle. There's no science to the fact that it makes it shoot better. And everybody got used to it. But I find that I shoot better and shoot a lot more stable with a little bit of an elevated grip. So in the early 2000s, or let's say late 2000s, right around 2007 to 2010, I was building the grips up with this moldable putty that came out called Sugru. You can find some old thing of weeks from way back when where I'm using Sugru to build up the grip. Well, around 2013, Hoyt finally came out with a replaceable grip system that they could use on their bows, but they didn't really give us a lot of angle to work with. So their angles were like from 0 which is really like a 12-degree or so grip angle. They called that 0. And then they would have a extra 2, extra 4, and maybe an extra 6, I think, that came with it. But I'm looking for more like 5, 10, 15. This one is middle of the road. This is a 10, and that seems to suit me the best. So you can build this up on your bow if it doesn't have a replaceable grip. You can build this up on your bow with like plumber's putty, any kind of like epoxy putty or anything like that, and it'll stay. I don't use grip tape on my bows because one of the things that's important is keeping the edges of the grip somewhat sharp. Bow companies don't make the edges of their grip very sharp. They round those off because no one will buy that bow because it's not comfortable. When they pick it up and they hold it in their hand and go, oh, this bow feels really good. I think I'm going to buy this. And that rounded grip allows you to have a variable grip angle or a variable rotational direction on the grip, and you can't even feel it. So if you add grip tape, you round all the edges, and you remove your feel or sensation as to whether if the grip is right or not. And if your hand is sliding around on the grip, you don't have your hand set in the grip properly. Your hand's a little too relaxed. It's a little too soft. When you put your hand in the grip, as I've said in previous Thing-A-Wigs, you put your hand in the grip and then a light pinch so that your wrist is engaged. The meat of your hand is an exact pliable state, right? So that way you have a good consistent grip that stays in place. So if your grip is sliding, you got a problem with the setup on your grip. So UltraView doesn't make these grips anymore, but there's some companies out there that make a few like replaceable grips, but you can also build this up as well. So that is where grip angle came from, and which angle, whether if it's 5 or 10 or 15, here's what I recommend. I can't tell you that one is better than the other, but the one that you aim well with is probably going to be the best. So take all the weight off of your stabilizer bars, shoot your bow for a little while, and then change the grip angle, and then just observe your overall sight steadiness and just pick the one that helps you be the most stable. And I recommend doing this after you have worked on your draw length and your peep height and your D-loop length. See previous Thing-A-Wigs to get your draw length correct and the fit of your bow is correct so that it's steady. So then when you change the grip angle of your bow, you may be able to see slight changes in your overall steadiness just because it's a better fit, it's better comfort, and there's no muscles that are at the limit of their range at full draw. So there you are, DanCom69. If you send a message to Last Chance Archery's customer service, they've got some swag that they'll send you through the mail, so just contact them and they'll fix you right up. And that's it for today's Thing-A-Week. Thanks for watching.